Captain America, the Winter Soldier, follows Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, as he navigates the modern world. Set 2 years after the Avengers, Steve works for S.H.I.E.L.D. but begins to question the organization's motives. 2 years after the Avengers, Captain America, now living in Washington, D.C., befriends Sam Wilson during a jog. Sam suggests Steve catch up on modern culture. Later, Natasha Romanoff picks up Steve for a mission. Captain America and Natasha Romanoff join S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, led by Brock Rumlow, to rescue hostages from a pirate takeover of the Lemurian starship. Captain America defeats the pirates and faces off against their leader, Batroc, ultimately winning the fight. Meanwhile, Natasha is extracting files using a S.H.I.E.L.D. flash drive as instructed by Fury. Captain America saves Natasha from a grenade explosion by jumping out of a window. Steve confronts Nick Fury about being kept in the dark regarding Natasha's mission. Fury explains that it's because Steve might not approve. He takes Steve to see Project Insight, where helicarriers are connected to spy satellites to prevent terrorist threats. Steve is uneasy, seeing it as an extreme form of protection that compromises principles. Fury urges him to adapt to the new approach. Steve visits the National Air and Space Museum, where there's an exhibit about his World War II heroics. A child recognizes him, but he gestures for silence. Steve views displays about his past, including his old love, Peggy Carter. He visits Peggy, who is aged and is unwell. She briefly recognizes him, then forgets, thinking he's returned after a long absence. Steve shares a touching moment, saying, "I couldn't leave my best girl, not when she owes me a dance." Fury can't access the files Natasha obtained due to his own security measures. He meets Secretary of Defense Pierce and asks to delay Project Insight. Pierce agrees, but wants Iron Man to visit his niece's birthday party in return. Steve visits the VA, where Sam counsels veterans with PTSD. Sam shares that he lost his friend Riley in Iraq, but still loves flying. Steve is unsure about what makes him happy. Fury contacts Agent Maria Hill for a Project Insight meeting. While waiting at an intersection, he's approached by police officers who act suspiciously. Fury's car is ambushed at an intersection by fake police cars and a SWAT team. These supposed cops are actually assassins. The assassins attack Fury's armored car with bullets and then try to break the window with a battering ram. When the window weakens, Fury uses a hidden minigun to kill most of the attackers and destroy their cars. He orders the car to drive away on its own, pursued by 2 police cars. A long chase ensues until he is interrupted by a black-clad figure who attaches a bomb under the car, causing it to flip. The assassin approaches, but Fury escapes through the roof using a laser weapon. Steve returns home and encounters his neighbor, Sharon Carter, who declines to use his laundry machine due to her recent time in a hospital disease ward. She informs him that he left his stereo on. Steve enters his home cautiously and finds Fury, who's been shot. Fury warns him not to trust anyone and hands over the flash drive. Sharon helps Fury, while Steve chases the sniper. Outside, Steve confronts the sniper, but the assassin catches and returns Steve's shield before vanishing. Natasha, Steve, and Maria gather at the hospital where Fury is operated on but ultimately flatlines. Natasha questions Steve about Fury's visit. Steve denies knowledge, and Rumlow calls him back to S.H.I.E.L.D. Natasha doesn't believe him, and Steve secretly hides Fury's flash drive in a vending machine. Steve meets with Pierce, who questions him about why Fury visited his apartment. Pierce suggests Fury may have hired pirates for classified data and was killed in a deal gone wrong. Steve denies it and insists Fury told him not to trust anyone. Steve enters an elevator with Rumlow and others, but senses a trap. Suspicious men board, and when burly guys block him in, Steve fights them off, including Rumlow, overpowering them and knocking them out. Sybil orders the strike team to the elevator where Steve fights. Steve breaks free, sends the elevator down, and escapes by falling to the plaza. He gets on his motorcycle, dodges S.H.I.E.L.D. obstacles, and disables a Quinjet by throwing his shield into its engines before escaping. Sybil orders agents to hunt Steve. Sharon questions why they're after Captain America. Pierce arrives and labels Steve a fugitive for not sharing info about Fury's death. Steve returns to the hospital to find the flash drive missing. Natasha took it. He confronts her, and she reveals they're searching for the Winter Soldier, a deadly assassin responsible for many killings. They plan to use the flash drive to locate him. Pierce meets with WSC members who believe Fury was killed to hide his illegal activities. They decide to reactivate Project Insight. Steve and Natasha, in disguise, use the flash drive at an Apple store to track a signal to Wheaton, New Jersey. They kiss on an escalator to avoid being recognized by Rumlow. They follow the signal to Steve's old training base, Camp Lehigh. where he reminisces about his past. Steve and Natasha enter an old S.H.I.E.L.D. office and discover a hidden room with a computer. They activate it, and it's revealed to be Dr. Arnim Zola's consciousness. Zola explains that Hydra infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. after World War II, controlling it from within. He also reveals a missile is on the way to kill them. They escape through a hole before the missile hits, and Rumlow's team arrives too late to catch them. Pierce talks to his housekeeper, Renata, as she is leaving, and the Winter Soldier suddenly appears. However, she went back as she forgot her phone and witnessed them having a conversation. Pierce shoots Renata to keep her from talking. Steve and Natasha seek refuge at Sam's house, and they plan to get Sam a Falcon flight suit. They're confident it'll be an easy task. In DC, Sitwell meets with Senator Stern, who secretly reveals himself as a Hydra supporter by saying, "Hail Hydra." Sam calls Sitwell and tells him to meet around the corner to meet with him and his allies. Steve and Natasha interrogate Sitwell on a rooftop. Natasha kicks him off the roof, but Sam catches him and puts him back. Sitwell confesses that Zola created Project Insight's algorithms to track and eliminate potential threats. He agrees to cooperate. While escorting Sitwell, they're attacked by the Winter Soldier and Hydra agents. A shootout ensues. During the battle, Natasha tricks the Winter Soldier with a recording. She tries to choke him, but fails. When she attempts to escape, he shoots her in the shoulder. As he's about to kill her, Steve intervenes. In a fierce fight, Steve knocks off the Winter Soldier's faceplate, revealing him to be Bucky Barnes, with amnesia. Bucky hesitates when Steve calls him by name, but then tries to shoot him. Sam intervenes with a timed attack, allowing Natasha to fire a grenade. Bucky escapes, while Rumlow's men capture Steve, Sam, and Natasha. Rumlow plans to execute Steve and his allies in a van and bury them. Sam notices Natasha's severe bleeding and fakes needing help. Maria Hill, posing as a guard, stuns one and helps them escape through the van floor. The strike team realizes they're gone when they reach a storm drain and open the back doors. Maria takes the heroes to a secret dam facility to treat Natasha and reunites them with Fury. Fury survived thanks to a serum from Banner that faked his death. They gather to plan an attack on Project Insight, which launches soon, targeting various threats. Fury provides chips to override the helicarriers, and Steve takes command. Inside a bank, Hydra agents repair Bucky's damaged arm. He has flashbacks to his past, including losing his arm and being put on ice by Hydra. Pierce congratulates Bucky and asks him to continue his work. Bucky begins to remember Steve and questions Pierce, prompting Pierce to try to erase his memories and revert him to a killer mindset. Steve recalls memories of Bucky on a bridge. In a flashback, Bucky offers Steve a home after his mother's funeral. Sam joins Steve, who decides to steal his old uniform. They swipe it from a Captain America exhibit, causing a humorous reaction from an elderly security guard. The World Security Council arrives at the Triskelion, given access pins by Pierce. Steve and Sam infiltrate the building. Steve broadcasts a message revealing Pierce's betrayal and the need to stop Project Insight. Rumlow forces an agent to release the helicarriers, but Sharon intervenes. A gunfight ensues, and Rumlow ultimately releases the helicarriers himself. Steve and Sam dodge Hydra agents to reach the helicarriers. Steve places the first chip, while Sam distracts with a missile strike, creating an entry for the second chip. Hill oversees their progress and deals with Hydra agents trying to stop her. Pierce tries to persuade the World Security Council to support Project Insight. Natasha, disguised as Councilwoman Holly, reveals herself and helps Fury take down Hydra goons. Fury's unique retinal scan overrides Project Insight. Pierce triggers pins given to the council members, causing severe burns. Natasha sacrifices herself to activate her pin. Fury shoots Pierce, killing him, and Pierce's last words are "Hail Hydra." Bucky combats S.H.I.E.L.D. agents attempting to assist Steve and then boards a plane heading to the helicarrier. While Steve and Sam try to stop the last ship, Bucky throws Steve and Sam off the helicarrier. Both survived, with Sam safely landing on the ground while Steve remained aboard the ship. Steve confronts Bucky, trying to reason with him. In the end, Steve installs the chip to override the helicarriers, causing them to target each other. One crashes into a dam, and the other crashes through the Triskelion. Rumlow is caught in the crash, but Sam survives. Natasha and Fury rescue Sam in a helicopter. As the third helicarrier falls, Steve and Bucky are inside. Steve, unwilling to fight his friend, drops his shield and endures Bucky's punches. He repeats their old promise, "I'm with you to the end of the line," which triggers Bucky's memories. Bucky hesitates, and the helicarrier crashes. Steve is thrown into the water but is saved by Bucky, who then walks away, free from brainwashing. After the events, Steve recovers in a hospital while Sam keeps watch. Sharon applies for a CIA field agent position. Hill interviews with Stark Industries, and corrupt officials are arrested. Rumlow survives with burns. Natasha defends herself at a hearing, knowing they need her. Fury erases all traces of his existence, including passports and his eye patch. Fury meets Steve and Sam at his own grave, leaving a message. Natasha gives Steve a file on Bucky. Steve plans to find Bucky, and Sam chooses to join him, showing their partnership will continue. In a mid-credits scene, Baron Strucker oversees experiments with alien weaponry. They check on Pietro and Wanda, who have superpowers. In a post-credits scene, Bucky visits the Captain America exhibit, reflecting on his past. And the movie ends here. Thank you for watching, and I highly recommend watching the entire movie as it is incredibly enjoyable. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel, so you can stay updated and receive notifications whenever we upload new videos.